What should I say first?
No, man.
Yeah.
You ready?
Okay, I'm ready. Okay. We have Pure Touring in the studio. Hello, guys.
Hello.
So 2 days before we had Fake Virgin Festival, and you guys are staying for a week additionally. Yes.
Yeah, this is the first place destination work place where we've traveled far.
Yeah.
I guess we ended up just staying. It's very convenient, but yeah, hopefully we'll get some work done.
The first time, especially for working on our new record, we haven't really done any dedicated time to that until now.
So, can you tell the audience that
Okay.
how was the gig was at the festival?
It was great. Really sweet crowd. We had no idea what it would be like, so it was a pleasant surprise. I felt like it was great. No, we usually have a different production, and we haven't played a lot of shows without it, so I feel like there were a few things at play that were big question marks for us, but it turned out like the best it possibly could.
Yeah, because like previously at the Laneway Festival, you had these LED strips, right? But you had all the recording of the LED and put it on the back screen.
Yeah, we just basically filmed our live production and put it on the screen behind us.
But I think it is still amazing to
Yeah,
see. Yeah.
We didn't really know how that was going to turn out. It was a bit of an experiment. But yeah, we're happy with it.
So, do you guys often travel to other countries and make music and experience the culture?
Not usually other countries. Like on the last record, we traveled a lot and used studios in a lot of places in Canada and the US. But this is the first time we've gone somewhere that we'd never been before to do it.
I see.
So we'll definitely be distracted. Who knows if we'll get much done.
Yeah, there's so much to do and see here. Hopefully we get some work done too. We'll see.
So, how is Korea since you've been arrived in Korea?
Amazing. The food is amazing. The mountains are beautiful. There's beautiful buildings. It's like tons of shopping and really good coffee. There's so much good coffee. I did not know that would be a thing. So it's perfect for us, I think.
Yeah, overall, pretty mind-blowing. 5 stars.
Glad. Yeah, I'm glad.
Amen.
Should we play one track?
Sure.
What do you want to hear? I brought all your album tracks, so what should
Off of our album?
Yeah.
I think you should choose.
Okay. The first maybe because I'm bringing you here, so I should play the first song I heard from you.
Sure.
So this is Fine Shrine from Pure Touring.
Wide open my sternum and poke my little ribs around you. pure will I not forget what feet are. Splitting threads of thunder over me. Listen closely, closely to the floor, emitting all its graces through the pores. You make a fine shrine in me. You build a fine shrine in me.
So this was Shrine from their debut album Shrines, and this is featuring on SCR. I wanted to ask you guys about so you travel, or do you go to some other places to write music or have some experience. So what is your what do you want to bring back to what you've been doing from South Korea?
I want to bring back a lot of clothes, but in terms of music, I feel like so far where we are when we write doesn't make as much of a difference as just being in one place and forced to focus on something and write.
Yeah.
And like actually have a lot of output. That's like the biggest benefit of traveling places to write.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like I mean, I love being in South Korea, but in terms of writing these days, I'm really happy doing it at home. So
Yeah. What about you, Corin?
I would say it's similar for me. It's nice, definitely for like a change of scenery, but I'm not sure how much it really actually ends up affecting what I make. But maybe like we're planning to catch some local shows here and listen to some local music and stuff. So I'm sure that might kind of seep its way into the subconscious in some way. But it'll be hard. Like I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Okay. So are you quite interested in K-pop or Korean music?
you should answer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like super knowledgeable, but I've heard a handful of it, and I do enjoy it for sure. Hoping to go to the Big Bang show this weekend.
Yeah, I wish we can get tickets. Another thing I wanted to ask you is, so 2012 you released this, you released your debut album, Shrines, and it was the big year, I think, for underground musicians because they had a lot of great records, like On AIR의, like Frank Ocean had their debut album as well, and like Grimes had Visions and like some other artists, and also you guys, and it was really a smashing hit. And you know, your debut album was like shortlisted on every like magazines, and like I think it's still considered being one of the best releases in the 2010 like era. And how do you feel, or how do you felt about being in this 2012 era where everybody was like releasing these amazing albums, And what do you think is the standing point of your album that was really attracting all these audiences?
When I think of the year 2012 and the way that Shrines ended up working and Unearthed, how that ended up sort of snowballing, I attribute it more to, there was a lot of great music that year, and since then there have been years with great music as well, but I attribute a lot of the musicians who had really successful, or who became successful that year and then grew, a lot of them exponentially since, is largely due to the way that people found music then. And I feel like it was sort of the end of an era, and a year, and there was probably like a year before and after, or more time where this happened, but where the way that people listen to music, like on blogs or shared music, and how like blogs worked together, sort of.
I think that I remember that's the time when Spotify launched, right? Like almost the time when Spotify launched.
I didn't know that. But yeah, it seems like sort of an end of an era, and then Spotify started taking over.
Yeah.
So other things too, but yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the start of SoundCloud too. Like, because we put out our first song in 2011, and I remember like not knowing much about SoundCloud, and we're like, okay, I guess we'll put our song on there. And I think that helped a lot, because at that time, like, maybe not as many people were using it yet, and it was like easier to share. There wasn't just millions and millions of songs, like an endless abyss yet.
Yeah.
So and people were really excited, like Megan said, about kind of sharing music person to person on a blog kind of thing. But yeah, now I don't really know how people discover new artists the same way. Like, I feel like it's more challenging for new artists the past couple of years to kind of break through Spotify and kind of the way that people consume music now, maybe. So
also, what happened with a lot of those bands in 2012, that era, I feel like major labels tried to make like a business model off of it. So there's been a lot of other musicians that have that sort of look or seem that way, but it's like dying.
It's like
that method is dying, I think.
Yeah.
Not in terms of sound, but in terms of like business model,
Production.
and production. Yeah, a lot of the sounds and like release formulas, I guess.
yeah, there's definitely like some things that are kind of planted to look like really natural, but like they've
like
had
planned to look like underground music or like
yeah.
indie.
but it's more just like a strategy, and maybe that I feel like that's getting harder to. It's like everything kind of works for a little while and then it doesn't work and people have to figure something else out. Like when we first started, I think the blog sharing thing was kind of like at its height, and that really was advantageous to us. But like I feel like it wouldn't have worked now if we tried to do that the same way. Like if we were a new band starting out, I don't no idea how we would try and like put our music out there.
It probably wouldn't work.
No one would care.
Should we listen to one more track?
Sure.
Let's play Unearthed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the start
Yeah,
of
it's
the
our very
featuring.
first song.
Yeah, it's the start of all this project. So this is Unearthed by Featuring. It's also on their first album, and it's the first single, right? It's the first
It was
release.
the first single, first song ever.
Yeah, for
Therefore, had to be
Featuring.
first single.
Yeah. Yeah, let's listen to it.
Listen to my teeth clicking, ears ringing, teeth clicking, ears ringing, teeth clicking, ears ringing, teeth clicking, ears ringing, teeth clicking, ears ring. The air is familiar, sound is not still. Dead voices conquer their moves. They fill their clock tones with vessels of earth, and the crying detrition in both.
I know for a fact that this your band Pure Touring was not intention to be a long project, right? So it was just for a short-term project, right?
Not even. We were just like, oh, let's try and make a song and see what happens. And then I think we realized pretty quickly that it would have to be a long-term project. Because obviously it was what we both wanted to do.
We weren't expecting it. I had just started producing and made a couple tracks, and then realized that it might sound good with some vocals on them, so I sent one up to Megan, and that became this song. It wasn't like, oh, let's start a band right away. It was just like, oh, let's vibe.
I think I was sick when we recorded this. It sounds like I was sick. I totally forgot.
You were sick, I remember. It was at Christmas.
Christmas in Canada. You always get sick.
How is it?
Snowy and picturesque. But yeah, and cold. Easy to get sick, but also easy to stay. Yeah, very typical Christmas, I feel like. But I'm also from there, so I have no idea. But Christmas is like there's mountains and pine trees and like snow here too, right?
Yeah.
Is there Christmas? Yeah.
But recently we didn't have any snow.
Really?
I think
It's
so. Yeah.
happening.
It's not really like. It's not really that much snowing in Korea. Yeah, it used to
That's
be
sad.
so much snowing, but
That's really sad.
yeah.
Yep. The time will come.
Yeah,
We'll all light on fire.
it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to your first album, and I have a question for you. All of your almost all of your tracks are named like it's crammed like a sentence, like few words are crammed into one word, right?
I think it's called a portmanteau.
Portmanteau, yeah. So, did you had any intentions for it, or is there like a?
I didn't realize that ungirthed wasn't a word.
Yeah.
And then what was the next song we did? Lofty Cries. That ended up just becoming a name because it's like two words in the song put together already. When it's sung, it's like that. I think shortly after that, it was a conscious decision to have all portmanteau titled songs. And yeah, I think it works really well because if it's like, maybe in some ways it's really memorable if it's like a made-up word that and people like the song or something. It's easier. It's easy enough to remember. But yeah, it's like I don't know. I really like them. I like English. I only know English, so obviously. but I like a lot of nuances in language and the ways that you can. I guess the way that things sound when they are a juxtaposition instead of like a normal use.
Yeah. For me, I personally think that by the way you did these tracks titles makes the listener more focus on the music rather than these like the packages to be to say like to more focus on the production and all these like little things on your music rather than the big things like the things you can usually listen like lyrics or the title itself.
Yeah, you're like looking for the title of the song in when you hear it for the first time. Yeah, that's a good point.
Basically you can more focus on the song itself rather than
Yeah, it forces you to listen to things that maybe you wouldn't hear if it was called like I love you or something.
Yeah, like oh but dear, like
yeah, totally.
Also, on your second album, you have like all these small letters instead of capital letters, right?
I think we did that on the first one too.
No.
On the
Second one.
yeah. I just think that yeah, I mean it's not like proper, I guess, but it's like I don't know. I like how that looks. It's like the only reason, really. Yeah.
It was like that or alternating caps.
So when you released your second album, many people thought it was quite different from what you released from your first album, and it sounded more. Some people they thought it sounded more like pop. And what do you guys think about the difference between your first album and your second album?
There's definitely differences because we tried to sort of approach the songs in different ways so that we wouldn't kind of keep just going about things the same way. In general, though, like for me, when I think about what the songs are, like I feel like stylistically it's the same as our first record. I think maybe where like the thoughts of it being more pop kind of just comes from there being more focus on Megan's voice. Like we mixed it a little bit louder and put it a little bit more up front. And in the production, I kind of like tried to leave a little bit more space for her vocal. So it is just kind of more, the music is sort of surrounding it instead of the voice just being like kind of buried in as another synth or something. And I think when people hear that, they kind of, no matter what the song really is or like how the song is written, like they just sort of perceive it as pop because like they're used to that. It's kind of a funny trick. It's like you could take any song and kind of like do a few little things and suddenly someone will be like, oh wow, it's really poppy now.
Yeah, for me, I think it's, like evolving.
Like pop is evolving?
No, like a style of an artist is like it can evolve to something else, and you cannot really stick to one thing.
Yeah, it's really important for us, I think, to accept that we do evolve. Like we want that.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, like you cannot really put like same things every time, right? Like it can happen to some musicians, but for you guys who did your first album, which was really really amazing, and it was everybody was like everybody was like, oh, this is so new. And if you try to like put something out, like put something really like fresh again, it would be quite hard to make something up like all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, it would also be like quite jarring to the people that like our music if we like suddenly completely changed it. I think it's always a challenge because when you have one album out and people really like it or they think it sounds really new and fresh, it's like there's some people that are going to expect you to completely reinvent yourselves for your next album, but then most of the fans like you for the reasons that they like you and they want you to kind of keep doing the same thing. So we like it was challenging at first, kind of getting past that in a mindset kind of way, like starting to work on our second record. But then once we actually started writing and working on things, we just kind of like went with whatever sounded good to us and didn't worry about it too much. And I think, and we just wanted to like keep it fresh for ourselves, like write songs that we thought were good and that we were like pushing ourselves further. And I think that's kind of what we're going to do this time too. Like I don't really know what the overall sound is going to be, but it's just going to be something that we don't feel like we're boring ourselves with. So hopefully we won't bore other people with it.
I feel like there's probably a lot of people who won't like anything else we make other than Shrines, and that's fine, because that doesn't really matter to us when it comes to when it comes down to it. We want to make music that we love. And also I can't really criticize that because there's a lot of bands where I only like one record of their whole discography. But
like same thing. I think same thing happened to Grimes as well because Grimes is like first to third album is like the third album is completely changed.
Do you mean Visions?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's changed a lot.
Yeah.
But
for her Art Angels album.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that album though.
Yeah,
I
me
think it's
too.
incredible. Yeah.
Everybody was criticizing over, sounded too much pop and something. And I think
I don't even really agree with that. I don't know.
me neither. Yeah. Just everybody I think everybody really hates that if an artist, like try something new.
Also, I think people criticize hard when an artist tries to make a pop record.
Yeah.
Like an indie artist or something. That's like the riskiest thing you can do. Yeah.
So I think, it's basically the same thing. Like Grimes proved to the audience that she can do these things, like different things. Like she jammed up every like other songs with different genres, and like on the song itself, she said like, I don't give a fuck or something. And I think it's the same thing with you guys, right? Yeah.
Well, thank you for thinking that. I think it's like she is also like we are just trying to make music that I guess like good music, like according to our own standards rather than critics' standards, which are the least important thing, as time will tell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, some of my favorite albums are terribly reviewed, so I try just to not worry about that too much.
Yeah.
Shall I listen to another album? No, another song
album.
from your Wish I Can.
Nah. I don't.
Let's listen to Push and Pull, which is from their second album, Another Eternity.
You were young and you'd stare with a reverence unimpaired. There was an echo far and faint beneath the air remained. You were young and you'd stare where my limbs hung far and fair. Make a ladder of what folds and climb up in me. You push and you pull and you tell yourself no. It's a lie down, the veins growing slow. You push and you pull, but you'd never know. I crept up in you and I wouldn't let go. There was no light and I swear I could see our raring fear. I heard the planes moaning back. I saw the thunder roll our black. There was no light and I swear we sat still in our fear. Make a ladder of what folds and climb up in me. You push and you pull and you tell yourself no. It's like when you lie down, the veins growing slow. You push and you pull, but you'd never know. I crept up in you and I wouldn't let go.
So you guys are working on your third album, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And although it's not really, although you haven't really made anything, do you have any plans to, release, or do you have any theme that you planned up for this album?
Installation layer.
Not yet. I think that'll maybe come together slowly throughout the process.
So this is a very early process, right? So this is like the
Yeah, like we don't
start.
have any songs yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Beg a pardon, I wouldn't.
Hopefully. But yeah, we'd love to put out at least one song before the next record that's like, I think we'll feel like we're doing something if we can put something out.
I asked you if you have some, recommendations for and also your inspirations and your playlist.
Yeah, these are mostly recommendations. Inspirations in some ways, I guess. Yeah.
So I have your recommendations. So Saint John Roses.
Yeah, I love this song. Just found this the other week. I'm playing it like crazy.
And Fate Healer, Fool's Russian.
Yeah, she's a friend from Edmonton, our hometown in Canada. She put out a record. I can't remember if it was earlier this year or last year, but she has always been kind of an inspiration to me. She has a really cool voice and is really good with lyrics. But yeah, I've been going to her shows since I was like 18. So yeah, the record that song is off of is really solid. So
I see.
yeah, she's great.
And also I have Braids Taste.
Yeah, braids.
Braids. Yeah.
I didn't mean to correct you. I just meant to say their name with sweetness because we adore them so much. But yeah, they're
good friends of ours.
Good friends and so respectable in so many ways as musicians. They've been a band for a long time. So yeah.
So do you have? We're about to close this interview.
Yeah.
And do you have anything to say to Korean fans or fans all over the world?
Should we look at the camera?
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
you can.
Thank you so much for having us. Hopefully we can come back to South Korea sometime in the future. That would be amazing. It's been so lovely. So yeah.
Yeah, we've been having the best time.
Yeah. It's been great.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you guys came to Korea, and
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, me too.
I've been wanting to see you guys since Shrines, and it's such a pleasure to finally see you guys in real life and talking to you, and it's been so amazing.
Yeah, we're glad we could finally make
Yeah.
it.
So the last song, what should we play? Maybe Braids?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. This last song is called Taste by Braids, and thank you guys for coming.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
This is Braids Taste.
Take me